Okay, everybody, we got the NFL wildcard games coming up this weekend. I'm John Herrick. I gave you a preview of all four of them, and it kind of dawned on me, what if one of these games this weekend happens to go into overtime? Now, if you might remember correctly, at the beginning of the season, the NFL put in a new rule change that affects overtime. Didn't affect the overtime change in the overtime rule change in the regular season, but now all of a sudden in the postseason, it takes effect. Now, under the old overtime rules, the team that whoever goes down the field and scores first wins, no matter what, in overtime. Now, the statistics apparently favored the team that wins the coin toss in overtime. Usually the team that wins the coin toss wins the game. But so in order to change that around, the owners got together and voted on this, and it was voted in. This new rule was voted heavily in favor, 28-4. Now, under the new overtime rule, you, as the team, if you are the team that wins the coin toss, you can no longer go down the field and on your first possession win with a field goal. If you kick a field goal now, the other team goes down and they get the ball first, and if they kick a field goal and you guys exchange field goals, then guess what happens? We just play until another score happens. A touchdown now in overtime at any point wins the game. But you cannot go down the field on your first possession and get a field goal and win. If you get a field goal and then get the other team to stop, and get a stop and hold the other team and don't let them score, then they win. But here's my confusion about all this. What really counts as a possession? They say each team has to have a possession. Well, what really constitutes a possession? What really constitutes possession? What if a quarterback throws an interception and it gets ran all the way back for a touchdown by a defensive player and they score 7 points and win the game? Do they win the game? Does that count as a possession or does that not count as a possession? What about when a quarterback drops back to pass, gets sacked in the end zone for a safety? Does that count as a possession? Does the team that was on defense now win the game because they got a safety? Or what about a sack fumble for a touchdown? Does that not count? What about a kickoff return for a touchdown? Does that not count now? And the other thing that's bad about this is that under this new rule, it hasn't been going on throughout the whole regular season, and now all of a sudden for the playoffs, it takes effect. These players are used to playing under sudden death overtime, and now all of a sudden it's just supposed to change like that for the playoffs. This is going to be really interesting. Well, we're going to continue with my patented three facts, which we always go with, three keys to victory. I'm going to go with 3 reasons why this NFL overtime rule is stupid. The first reason why it's stupid is because it creates confusion among the players. You haven't been playing underneath this rule the whole year, and now all of a sudden, for the playoffs, we're just going to change it all around, and we're going to go that way. They're not used to playing under these new rules. How do you know that they're not going to get confused and make a mistake, and then there's huge controversy coming up afterwards? Well, we didn't know those were the rules. Donovan McNabb didn't even know there could be a tie in overtime when he was playing for the Eagles a couple years ago. So they could easily get one of these new rules confused. The second reason that it's a stupid rule is that it makes each possession a little bit more meaningless. And you're saying, well, wait a second. How does it make it more meaningless? When it was sudden death, you could just feel in overtime in the NFL that every possession, every play, every move by either team was so critical because that was going to determine who won and lost the game. And that's what made overtime great. Sure, you might have lost on the first play of the game, on the first play of overtime, but you know what? That's what made it great, is that there was so much suspense, so much hype, so much build-up into each moment that every possession, every play counted. Now guess what? Well, we gave up a touchdown, we gave up a field goal, no big deal. We can just go down there and do one of our own. And it just doesn't carry with it the same weight. It doesn't carry with it the same magnitude. And so people just say, oh, well, we'll just shrug our shoulders and we can just go on to the next possession and try to score there. And then the defense can be a little bit more lax because they think, well, our offense can go score and get it. I mean, trust me, it's human nature. If you know someone's going to do that, you're going to fall into that trap. It makes each possession not meaningless completely, but a little bit more meaningless because they think they have a safety net to fall back on now. And since they think they can have a safety net to fall back on, that can make these games go on forever. Listen, let me just tell you something. I love sports just as much as anybody. I love the NFL. I love football. But guess what? We all have lives. We have families. We have other things we have to do. And if these NFL games last forever, going on and on and on because one team scored a touchdown or another, one team scored a field goal, another team scored a field goal, and it goes back and forth. And these games, and in the NFL and the playoffs, you got to have a winner to determine who's going to go on and play next. So it could take forever to find a winner. And guess what? I love sports. I love it just as much as anybody. But my God, we've got families, we've got friends, we've got deadlines, we've got commitments, we've got jobs, we've got other things going on besides watching a football game go on until 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, if it happens to go that way. Yes, people say, well, that's part of what college overtime makes it great. Well, that's why college games are so long, and that's why some of these games don't get great ratings, because they just take forever. People don't like stuff that takes forever. We live in an information now society. We need things now. The games take forever. The players are going to be confused because they haven't seen these rules all year. They haven't played underneath them in the regular season. They haven't gotten completely used to them yet. And each possession is now a little bit more meaningless because they've lost a little bit of their magnitude. Just wait. I can just see it happening. There could be so much. I can just see controversy coming out of just one of these games. Maybe not this weekend, maybe not next weekend. Maybe it happens in the Super Bowl. But this overtime rule, I think, is really going to rear its ugly head. I think it's really stupid, and I've been on it since the beginning of the year, and I don't think it's good. Tony Dungy was dead right. You know what? You have a defense for a reason. If you didn't win the coin toss, get a stop. Get the ball back. That's why you have a defense. That's why you have a defensive coordinator. Or if you don't think that your defense can stop them, that's why you have special teams. Onside kick the stupid thing and then try to recover it if you don't have that much confidence in your defense. Figure out a way. Use strategy to win the game. Don't sit there and complain. That's what everybody is. Well, the overtime rules stink. No, you know what? Maybe your defense just stinks and you can't get a stop. That's not the rule's fault. Anyway, that's my rant on the NFL overtime rule. I think it's stupid. I think it's ridiculous, and the whole way it's been enacted, I think it's only set up to cause more problems. I'm John Herrick. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the games this weekend, everybody.